Café Gabe's black and white cookie cuties. Prepare yourself for something adorable. No, I can't speak for everybody, but as someone whose mother comes from Brooklyn, New York, I was very fortunate to be exposed to black and white cookies at a fairly young age. Oh, what a treat. I am basing this recipe almost identically off of one that Ragusea posted some time ago that I absolutely loved. I will post that original recipe in the description below. It's absolutely worth a try. This should be fairly similar, but if you want to see it from the source, highly recommend his channel. Now, regarding the differences I'm going to have with that recipe, the biggest one's going to be I'm not making these nearly as large. I don't have it in me to eat a whole behemoth. Well, I do, I just shouldn't, right? A behemoth of a cookie. Those suckers are, 5 inches across, it feels like. And as delicious as they are, and God help me, they are delicious, I actually kind of prefer smaller bites. When I want to sweet something, I just kind of want a little bit. Okay, I've indulged my sweet tooth, I'm good. I don't need to feel compelled because I will eat the rest of this darn thing. So mine are going to be fairly smaller. They will bake a little quicker. They'll need just as much time to dry up, but know that besides the size, I will be adding a little different flavor here or there. But again, if you're curious how they were made originally, go check out that recipe. It is amazing. So if you are ready to see for yourself, the sight of this sizable circumference is superfluous, circumspect to the overall flavor of these snacks. This is the recipe for you. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so to get started, we really have to whip up this butter. I have softened this butter just a little bit in the microwave. I let it set out for about 30 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? Heck with it. Microwave it at 5-second intervals, maybe 3 or 4 times if it's right out of the fridge, just to get it malleable, get it, soft enough to squish. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna throw my sugar in. I've got a cup here. I'll throw on top of that my softened butter. And the point that Ragusea makes that's fairly valid, you need some sort of electrical device for this. Doing this by hand would be insanity. You have to make this butter so quick to get the proper texture that we're going for here. So stand mixer or a hand mixer and some time, that's the way to do it. Gonna be super whipped, super creamy. I will let this run for a few minutes while I prep other things. So here we go. Okay, switching to my phone here as a camera. I like this consistency. Nice and soft, creamy. From here, I will add our Greek yogurt. I've got my fage right here. I'll throw in that, whoops. They always get me with that thing. Gonna throw in my half cup. Boom. Wonderful. Gonna let this mix again, just to kind of get re-creamed. Let me go ahead and pop in my eggs. I'm gonna just eyeball these measurements. And I'm actually gonna use a little bit of orange extract, just for a little citrusy, a little tangy on the end. Just a smidge, not too much. And now I will start adding in my flour half cup at a time. And then a little difference all day, I'm gonna add just like a couple dashes of cinnamon here. I doubt I'll taste it that much, but I want something a little different, Last but not least, a little bit of salt. Just to give you an idea of the consistency we're looking at here. Oh yeah, look at that thick. Not even fallen just yet. Good stuff. We are in business. I like this batter. I like this consistency. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to put this onto our baking sheets. All right, guys. Parchment paper lined baking sheets, big old tablespoon. We're gonna use a tablespoon to get these portioned approximately where we want them. So, we're still gonna want them probably about 2 inches apart from each other. We don't want them huge. If I had a piping bag, this would be a lot easier, but as such, we're working with what we got. And just like Ragusea, I'm gonna wet my fingers and just try to shape these a little bit here. I want flat circles, right? The fact that there might be different diameters won't make a difference if we can be sure they're all the same height. As long as I can pat these all down to approximately the same height, it should be good. So I will do batches in the end. I've got these 9 right here. Throw them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna shoot for 16 minutes actually. However, toothpick test, be sure they're done. Once they're done, they do need to cool completely. If we try icing them when they're still hot, the icing is just going to melt. But in the meantime, I'm going to ensure that I like these heights, throw them in the oven, and I will be back. Okay, cookies are out of the oven. They're resting at the moment. I've got 2 batches I had to make. I'm gonna go ahead and start my icing. As he does, I'm gonna put about 6 cups of powdered sugar in here. You know, if you don't need as much, that's fine, but better to have it and not need it. Okay, we're gonna eyeball those 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. Last, our milk. Again, less is more. We need this to be runny enough to spread, but thick enough to hold its shape, so to speak, right? So start with less, add more if you need to. 4, maybe a quarter of a cup. I'm going to start with a whisk and just kind of carefully, because it will make a huge mess. Powdered sugar is any excuse it has to explode, it will. But let's just start incorporating this together. So for example's sake, you can see here, this is probably still too thick. I'm gonna have to add a little more milk to this. I'm gonna try stirring it for another 10 or 20 seconds, see if I get any progress there, but the odds are we'll need a little more milk. Not much. Not much, because this is literally 90% of the way of where I want it. I'll put a measurement for the amount of milk I'm approximating I'm using, but ultimately, you'll need to get a feel for an eyeball, but I can at least show you the final consistency that we want. Look at that. That's what we're talking about. That will very nicely spread, but also hold its shape for the most part. We are good there. I will aim the camera down so you can see this as I go. The trick here will ultimately be, to use a cookie as a guide with my icing. As my icing drips, create sort of a dam there, right? A bastion, a rampart. Something to keep the chocolate icing, when we make it, from drifting. And then we will just lightly spread this to the other side. Okay, there's plenty of icing, so don't be wasteful, but don't be shy. Yes. And as straight a line as you can get it. Just for the sake of knowing what I'm talking about. Look at that bad boy. I'm going to rinse and repeat this for the other 12-ish cookies that I have. And then I'll need to sit for probably about an hour. I can then add the chocolate icing and repeat, wait about an hour. Here we go. Okay, our white icing is hardened. Let's make our chocolate icing. I have the remainder of our white icing here. I'm gonna just dump a sheesh ton of cocoa. A sheesh ton. It'll probably need a little extra milk to mix up with this new dry that we've added. So just a splash. I've got our corn syrup just in case. I've got more powdered sugar if we need it, but in the meantime, let's look at this together. I'm loving this color. This consistency is a little light, so I might actually add a little more sugar because this looks a bit too runny for what we need it for. But hey, not a big deal. Again, you can always add more. You just can't take away. Let's start there for now and see how we do. I like that a lot. I'm going to add just a little more sugar. And then, love it. So, let's just bring these over here for now. I'm going to take my little, I've created my little barrier there, right? So in theory, I shouldn't have too much icing crossing the line, crossing the Rubicon of flavor. Just make that nice little line. Once you have that line created, you can be a little more reckless with your pouring and spreading and all that jazz. Yes. Oh yes. Guys, we are in business. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of these. And then it'll be another hour, and then we can actually give one of these a try. We're really supposed to let them sit overnight. I will do that with most of these, but for the sake of the video, I will just try one. And just know if you let it, the longer you wait, the better it will be. So here we go. All right, everybody, taste test. I have our nice plate here. It's been about 4 hours, all right, since I did these. Again, ideally you want to leave them overnight, more or less, but in this case, I'm a bit of a time crunch. So I'm gonna sample one, and then I'll sample a few more tomorrow. So here we go. Got me a BB one right here. Vámonos. Oh yes. You know, I think I like these more than the ones that I'm basing this off of. The orange, the orange extract, and the cinnamon just peek through in a way that is very nice. It's very light. It's just like a hint of them, but it's present. These cookies are not as dense as I remember them being, but they're really, really good. They're kind of soft. Oh, but just like that. The cinnamon orange, like an orangey spice, citrus spice. Oh my God. I'm only supposed to eat one of these. We will see. But guys, black and white cookie cuties a la Café Gabe. Totally worth the effort, right? You know, if I had more time, these would get a little more crunchy, but the icing would really solidify, harden. The cookie might dry out a little more. That's more traditional to the flavor, but even better, that means you can make it the day before. I'm always about efficiency. If I can make something the day before an event, it gives me one less darn thing to do the day of the event, which often can be very hectic. So I appreciate anything that makes that more friendly to me and my schedule. But guys, as always, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. If you haven't already, hey, subscribe to the channel. I've got more recipes like this coming up soon. If you tried this and liked it, like the video. And if you have any questions for me, comments, concerns, ideas, did you maybe try them side by side? Try Adam's, try mine. See what you preferred, see what you think. You have any advice for me? Have you made these before? Do you have an old recipe that was passed down the line that you think I'd be interested in? Hey, put it in the comments. I would love to hear it. Guys, as always, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Be well. Stay safe. Adios. Oh my God, I'm about to say adios to about 15 more of these cookies that I'm supposed to give these to someone.